All right, I call the January 21st, 2020 Eden Prairie City Council meeting to order. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And just a reminder that we have open podium every council meeting. So before each meeting, if you'd like to speak, our meetings are typically held the first and third Tuesday of each month from 6:30 to 6:55 p.m. in the council chamber. We have the open podium, and that is not recorded and not televised. But please contact the city manager's office at 952-949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, phone number, and subject matter. And if time permits, after scheduled speakers are finished, the mayor will open the floor to unscheduled speakers. Open podium is not recorded or televised. If you have any questions about open podium, please contact the city manager's office. All right, we have a proclamation tonight. As typical with many of our meetings, we accept donations from good people and organizations within our city, and it's always encouraging to see this. Mr. Lotthammer, would you like to present this one?
Yes, Your Honor, council members. This is a donation from the Eden Prairie Lions Club, which several of you are a part of. It's a $1,000 donation towards the Starring Lake Outdoor Center, and this will be used to help with some of the program utilities and also some of the projects that will be happening there this spring. So we really appreciate that and want to thank the Lions Club. There's a lot they do for the community, but this is something that will directly impact the outdoor center.
Fantastic. I know the Lions are very very supportive of our community, and we really appreciate all that the Lion Club does for Eden Prairie. And I know Ron and I both belong to the Lions Club, and it's a great organization. So with that, is there someone that'd like to make a motion?
Move to adopt the resolution accepting the donation of $1,000 from the Eden Prairie Lions Club for the Starring Lake Outdoor Center programs.
Second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you to the Lions. All right, we have another donation. Mr. Lotthammer.
Yes, Your Honor. This is from Seniors Helping Seniors, $250. It's going directly to the Senior Golf Classic, which is held out at Dahlgreen's Golf Course in the spring. And this will help keep that affordable, as well as offer prizes for some of the seniors that will be playing in that event. So we appreciate their help.
Fantastic. All right, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt a resolution accepting the donation of $250 from Senior Helping Seniors for the Senior Center Golf Classic.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you to the seniors. It'll make it for a nice outing in the spring when we finally get thawed out from this cold weather. All right, moving on, we have another proclamation, as it was just Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s celebration the other day. Mr. Getchow, do you want to tee this up?
Absolutely, Mayor and Council members. We have a proclamation which we would like the Mayor to read, and then we have our liaison and a commissioner with the Human Rights and Diversity Commission, Megan Yerkes and Sana Ellis, are here to announce the opening of our application process for our city's annual Human Rights Award.
Fantastic. I will read the proclamation. So the City of Eden Prairie, Hennepin County, Minnesota. Whereas the City of Eden Prairie's City Council and Human Rights and Diversity Commission sponsors the Human Rights Award Program, recognizing those who work to create an inclusive community spirit through their actions, activities, and programs, and whereas the City of Eden Prairie recognizes that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream and dedicated his life to helping freedom exist for all people through his commitment to human rights and his nonviolent philosophy, and whereas the City of Eden Prairie affirms its commitment to fostering diversity in our community through the Eden Prairie Manifesto. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Eden Prairie hereby proclaims 2020 as a year to celebrate human rights and diversity, and asks all residents to continue their commitment and concern for equal rights for all persons, to dedicate themselves to helping those who do not yet share in that freedom, and to join the City of Eden Prairie in recognizing and celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. Brad Aho, Acting Mayor, City of Eden Prairie. You want to come up? Thank you.
Respected Acting Mayor and Council members, good evening. My name is Sana Alizar, and I'm a current Commissioner on the Human Rights and Diversity Commission. It is my honor and privilege to announce the start of the annual Human Rights Award for year 2020. The purpose and goal of the award is to recognize those who work in our city to create a welcoming and inclusive community spirit through their actions, activities, and programs. Human Rights Award nominations are accepted in the following 4 categories, namely individual, youth, nonprofit, and business. You all know that Eden Prairie is home to many talented organizations, businesses, groups, and individuals who work tirelessly to bring our community together by building bridges, lifting people's spirits, and ensuring that all are treated with dignity and respect. The Human Rights and Diversity Commission is honored to be able to recognize those individuals, those who embody the spirit of the Eden Prairie Manifesto. Nominations for the awards will be accepted until February 28th. That's 2/8. Even though it's a leap year, we'll only accept them till February 28th. And the forms can be found on www.edenprairie.org/Human Rights Awards, or you can just search for Human Rights Awards in Google, and it'll be the first link. Alternate formats and accessible formats of the nomination forms can be requested by contacting the Human Rights and Diversity Commission's liaison, Megan Yerkes. You mentioned her. Her phone number is 952-949-8394, or in the alternate, also emailing her. That information is on our city's website. After we receive nominations, the commission will select recipients in March, and then you folks, the council members, will present the awards during the May meeting. With that, I encourage all of you, city staff, council members, community members, all those in the audience today, to please consider nominating someone who embodies the Eden Prairie Manifesto. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sana, and we appreciate all your work on the Human Rights and Diversity Commission, and you guys do a great job, so thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so is there any items to change or modify for the agenda? All right, hearing none, I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next, we'll move on to the minutes of the previous workshop and council meeting held on January 7th of 2020. Do we have a motion on that?
I move to approve the following city council minutes. Council workshop held Tuesday, January 7th, 2020. City council meeting held Tuesday, January 7th, 2020.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, let's move on to the consent calendar. We have items A through G. Is there anything to pull or look at further other than approval? Seeing nothing, would someone like to make a motion?
Move approval of items A through J on the consent calendar.
A through G.
G.
G, okay, all right, thank you.
Second that.
Second, all right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Thank you. And I should mention, too, just before we get too far, I forgot to mention that the reason I'm acting mayor tonight is Mayor Case is attending the National Mayor's Conference. And so he would be here, but he is missing for a good reason. He's got a good excuse for not being here. So we wish him the best at the conference. All right. Now we move on to public hearings. Mr. Getchow, do you want to talk to us about the Central Middle School additions and remodel?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor and Council members. We have before us a request from our own Eden Prairie School District for exactly as you said, Mayor, a remodel and some additions at Central Middle School. The property is located at 8025 School Road behind the school district's Administrative Services Center just down the road here from City Center. The proposal that is before us tonight is approximately 82,000 square feet of addition space and 50,000 square feet of remodeling, which touches the majority of the school and mainly deals with theater, gymnasium, classroom, and cafeteria space. There's also work, some site improvement work and some safety improvements throughout the school, but I do know that the district is here to provide a presentation, an overview of the full project, so I won't go into any more detail than that. They are here to present. The council holds a public hearing, and staff and council, or staff and applicant can answer any questions that the council may have before you take action on this first reading of approval for this project.
Great. Would you like to come up and state your name and your title?
Good evening. I'm Jason Mutzenberger. I'm the Executive Director of Business Services for Eden Prairie Schools. Acting Mayor, Council members, City staff, thank you for having us this evening. We're really excited about this project to bring forward some additions and remodels to Central Middle School. This is a 1959 building that's in need of some improvements, and I think we've got some wonderful additions that we're going to bring forward as well. This project really got kicked off in 2016 under a heading we call Designing Pathways, trying to create academic pathways for our students over a 10-year vision that we laid out. It was a process that involved many staff, many parents, community. We had thousands of people provide feedback for the school district as we move forward with this academic vision. Through the process, we understood that to carry out the academic side of it, we would need to make some facility improvements. And so in 2019, in May, we brought forward a bond referendum to the community for $39.9 million. It was supported overwhelmingly at nearly 70% passage rate. And so we've moved forward with our plans there. We've had a wonderful experience with city staff in developing these plans, and it's really been a collaborative partnership that we appreciate very much as we've gone through this. So we're excited to bring forward the details this evening for your review. I've got a couple of team members with me this evening. The first is Michael DeVetter. He's our architect that we've hired for the project. And then we also have Jay Pomeroy, our civil engineer. Both of them are going to come forward and present some of those details for you. And then we're happy to take any questions at the end.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Can you load this up? Can you can switch it. Hi, my name is Michael DeVetter. I'm the architect for Eden Prairie Schools. The name of my firm is DeVetter Design Group, and we're out of Minneapolis. As was mentioned earlier, this is a really large project for the school district. There's about 80,000 square feet of additions and 50,000 square feet of remodeling in the existing building. The project can really be, do you want to go to the next slide? The project can really be broken down into, the addition project can be broken down into 4 pieces. There's this drawing is actually oriented north to the left, so the west is down. So there's a theater addition on the west side. There's a gymnasium addition on the south side. On the east side, there's a cafeteria addition, and north of the cafeteria addition, there's a 20 classroom addition. The theater itself, the Performing Arts Center edition on the west side contains a 700-seat auditorium and actually a large community room designed to hold 70 people. The west entrance to the main entrance on the west side to the middle school is actually going to be totally torn down, and a new curved link is going to be added to connect the new theater to the gymnasium and the activity center. So this whole west side of the school will be the activity side of the school, and it will be able to be separated off from the main part of the school so that it can actually act independently of the school day, so that we can have community events in the theater and in the gymnasium without affecting the classrooms. That curved length actually is going to contain educational space. There'll be student resource areas, but it'll also contain a new secure entrance so that the west side of the building can be secured. The cafeteria addition on the east side, which is up on the drawing, the green colored space, that's about a 6,000 square foot addition, and that's connecting the existing north cafeteria to the south cafeteria. So there'll be a new consolidated cafeteria, which will be more efficient. It'll be able to accommodate 700 students, which will allow the school district in the middle school to go from 5 lunch periods down to 3 lunch periods to make it easier for student education. The classroom edition, which is really the focus of this project, is there's 20 classrooms being added just north of the cafeteria, and they're going to create updated, more current educational environments. So what's really interesting about this gives the teachers and the staff the opportunity to have multiple classroom types. So there'll be traditional labs, there'll be traditional lecture classrooms, but there'll be also open classrooms, and all the classrooms are connected by a center resource area to encourage collaborative and group learning by students. And so what we're trying to do is give more students more opportunity for learning. As part of the classroom edition, we're actually adding 5 new music classrooms to the Performing Arts Center, and there's going to be 2 new band rooms, a new orchestra room, and 2 new choir rooms. In the proximity of the music rooms to the theater and the community room will create a new music performing arts wing for the middle school, which really is a unique opportunity for Eden Prairie schools, and really builds on their reputation or their excellence in performance education. Talk about this.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jay Pomeroy. I'm a landscape architect with Anderson Johnson Associates. Thanks for having us here. The site, as Mike went into, now is north up, or north is up. And so off the west side of the building, kind of the main entrance of the building, as Mike mentioned, the curvilinear or circular entrance off of the main west parking lot will be the focal point. We're going to realign, actually rotate that west parking lot. Right now it goes north-south, and we'll align it east-west so that cars parking and actually people entering the building will now walk with the traffic rather than against the traffic. The Performing Arts Theater off the northwest corner of the building will basically take out the sand volleyball courts. I'm not sure if you know where that is, but that'll take part of the parking lot and the circulation road to the north, so that north drive will be realigned and pushed to the north. And now we'll connect, not that it doesn't now, but it'll be a hard connection to the bus corral on the east. So that will allow for some traffic connection for parents dropping their kids off in the morning, parents picking up in the afternoon, so that not everybody's going out School Road down to Scenic Heights. Now they can get out to Wallace. The classroom addition and cafeteria on the east side of the building, as Michael mentioned, that will push the bus corral toward Wallace, and so hence the need to reconstruct the bus corral. And with the additions and the additional student population increase, we'll increase the bus count by 8 from where it is now. So again, a larger bus corral. The parking that's in the bus corral now will be relocated to the west side. So we don't have that cross connection between cars and buses. Now it's just buses on one side, cars on the other. Off the northeast corner of the building, you can see the bus corral in the north drive loop pushes the track to the north too. So it's kind of a domino effect. So we're really touching quite a bit of the site. With that, we've got landscaping, obviously, that is being improved. We've got the landscape calculations included in the plans. The city staff has been a huge help in trying to document or calculate out what we need to provide as far as significant tree loss and replacement, as well as just kind of pushing the envelope on landscaping to provide for academic use. The rain gardens and filtration basins that you see off the northwest side of the building, as well as in the very west corner of the west parking lot, those can be used for educational purposes, as well as obviously filtering the stormwater before it leaves the site. Off the southwest corner, just to highlight that a little bit too, that's the gymnasium addition. That'll of course push the a little bit of the traffic, or I should say the drive to the south as well. That circulation, if I can come all the way back to the west side, the queue lane will be extended. Right now, the queue lane for parent drop-off is about 250 feet long, or about 10 to 12 cars. I mean, you know, they probably back all the way out to Scenic. We've done a traffic study. City engineering has helped us with that. Bolton and Mink actually did that. The queue lane now will be up to upwards of 750 to 800 feet. So quite a few more cars that are able to pull off of the circulation and queue up and wait. And then, as I mentioned, they can either go back out to Scenic Heights or around the north side and out to Wallace. Nope. Okay.
So I'd like to take a few moments to talk about the aesthetics of the exterior of the building. The existing building is predominantly a red-orange brick building, except for there's a little bit of cement panel on the east and west side. It's a fairly large building. It's roughly 2.5 football fields in the north-south direction and 2 in the east-west direction, something like that. And as you can see on this diagram, with our new additions, which are a little bit darker than the existing building, we have an opportunity with our new additions to break down the scale of the building. Because, like I said earlier, the elevations are predominantly red-orange brick, and they go the whole length that I discussed earlier. So what we're going to do, our new additions are going to be predominantly brick, metal panel, and glazing. But we're going to switch the brick color and go to a black iron spot brick to contrast the existing brick to help break the scale of the buildings down. So these are some images of the building. This is the new east entrance. For those of you familiar, this entrance is right now is all orange brick. Our addition will cover that whole east elevation, and we're using the black brick and we're contrasting it with a silver metallic metal panel that has a profile to it. And then at the main entrances, we're given a little bit of a red splash to reflect the Eden Prairie Schools branding. And what's really interesting about the metal panel, we use that to contrast the brick, but it also is really interesting during the day. It reflects the sun differently, so it'll pick up the sun when it's setting and when it's rising, so it'll change colors during the day. So this is the east entrance, another east entrance, another one.
And this will be buses only on this side, the bus corral, whereas now it's kind of mixed between cars and buses.
So during the drop-off, go ahead. Jay.
Yep. During an event, open house or a theatrical event or even a sporting event, actually this rendering actually shows an overflow condition where the buses have the angled parking lot, actually where that car is dropping off, that probably shouldn't be there, but the buses aren't there during the evening or during event time, so overflow parking or event parking would be in the bus corral.
So we'll be allowed there.
Oh, sorry.
So we'll be allowed there.
Yes. Yeah, event parking would be during those events, and those would be in the bus corral when buses aren't there.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Thank you.
This is the new west entrance. The Performing Arts Center is on the left. And that's the newly constructed main entrance to the middle school. The metal panel and brick, and then you can see at the entrances we have the red metal panel. And this is the new gym. So this is actually what you'll see when you're driving up along School Road. So this is a pretty predominant elevation. So we wanted to have something really nice. So that this will actually make a really nice gymnasium space. There'll be plenty of light in there, and it'll be a nice new educational space. I think that's all we have. So if you have questions.
Council, any questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Narayanan.
Thank you. That 700-seat auditorium, I'm just curious how much space in the front of it, because you have a lot of people going in, right? Yeah. Queuing in. So when I read the packet, I didn't see it, or I didn't able to.
So can you go to
just curious.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you go back?
That's actually a really good question. So the lobby space or the queuing space is really important in a theater, but it's only used very infrequently. So you don't want to build a lobby just for one thing. So if you look at the theater, to the top, just above the theater, there's a big yellow space. That actually is that community room that's used that can hold 70 people. Sitting at a table, but there's a glass wall in front of that, so that opens up during a performance. So all the yellow in front of this, there's a 10-foot curved space in front of the theater, and that space is all the queuing space for the theater. So we can, when we don't need it, we can close that wall and use it as a community room, and when we do need it, we can open that up and expand that space into a queuing space for the theater.
So the new gymnasium, that's not close to the auditorium space also? That cannot be used for the queuing?
It can be, but during, in reality, you could use all that public space, but
right.
That you're getting quite a ways away from the theater.
Yeah.
It all depends on how the school district wants to use the performing arts space. If you can barely see it, but there's doors that close off that curved link, so that we can keep people for the performance over at the performance if we want to. But it's entirely possible that you could actually use that same space over in at the gym for the performances.
This is just a side note, very exciting, because my two boys, both of them went to CMS, and I wish they go back and redo it when you're done, just to enjoy it's awesome. I've seen Josh's presentation, I think 3 times before the funding. So it's a great project. Thank you.
Any other council questions?
Not a question, but I too do appreciate having another good-sized auditorium in the community. It's great for the kids, it's great for parents that are going to programs, but it also makes other facilities available for groups that want to have a convention or theater for, community theater, or a lot of the things happening. Right now, everything has to go to the high school, and this will be good for kids, and I think it'll be good for other people.
So one comment and question I have is that, as a city council, we're always very, very concerned about school safety and the safety of our students, as well as the teachers and other administrators that are at the site. And so I know that there was a big push to make safety improvements, and you've kind of alluded a little bit to that with some of the separation of the entrance and things. But is there anything else that you'd want to highlight or talk about that would be significant improvements to the safety of the facility?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. The Designing Pathways Bond referendum did include some money for safety and security improvements at all sites in the district. And so just to touch on what you mentioned, secure entrances are the primary focus for us, have been for a number of years. We've spent about 5 years, 6 years now working on secure entrances. All of our buildings now have them, which I think was a great improvement over that time. That's kind of that first layer of defense for us. Additional security improvements, there's a number of them that we have been improving already and continue to work on. So everything from additional security cameras, new security cameras. We, as a school district, we're one of the first school districts in the state of Minnesota to install security cameras. So the ones that we've had in place have been old and outdated by this time. So we've invested about $500,000 into security camera upgrades over the last about 4 years. We've got more of those improvements to make, and we continue to make other improvements. One of the concerns we've had from families already, even while we were selling the referendum, is we're creating open spaces. We're adding more glass from what a traditional classroom used to be. So how are we going to keep kids safe with our current say lockdown procedures that we have? And it's really a change in our mentality of trying to secure a block of classrooms or a wing to the school versus individual classrooms. And so part of those security improvements are just trying to lock down different areas within the building and creating additional layers of security. That's the way I like to talk about it. We're trying to create additional layers in order to buy time. We know we've got a wonderful police department that supports us. We've got some fabulous school liaison officers, and we just need to provide some additional time for those reinforcements to come. And so we're trying to add additional layers in. We've got a whole host of things that we're doing. A number of them we don't want to talk about in public, but we've had some closed session meetings with our school board around those. So we continue to make lots of improvements across the system and at all sites.
Well, that's good. I know there's been a lot of thoughtful discussion and a lot of thoughtful, response to that, and I think that's something that we need to always be mindful of and continue to focus on. And it's a big priority for us and for everyone in the city. So thank you for doing that, and thank you to Chief Weber and all of our police force that do a great job with us and work with the school district. We appreciate everyone's cooperation and work together.
Yeah, just
Councilmember
curious, what is that board sitting out there? And I don't want you to forget to show to us, so.
Oh, the material board?
Yeah.
This is just a material board of the exterior materials. This is the existing. How am I going to do that? So this is the existing red brick. That's the new iron spot brick over there. This is the metal panel and glazing, of course, and then the red at each of the entrances. This actually here is really kind of a unique element. On all the big glazing, you can see in the renderings that we have vertical fins to help shade the sun on all the big glazing areas at the theater, the curved entrance, and at the cafeteria. So that's actually what that's all about.
Thank you.
Great. Well, it looks like nice materials. Any other questions of the project proponent?
I assume with all this adding on, I know at the high schools they added on more and more and more over time. Not so much anymore. There was some heating and cooling issues where some areas were really hot and some areas were really cold. Have you been able to make that not happen with your new additions? Or is it to have the same old problems of an added onto building?
Yeah. So all of our new additions are all going to have new mechanical areas, and actually the school district has gone through some mechanical upgrades over the years. So we're going to tie into a lot of those spaces, but in areas that we know of, there would be problems. We're addressing those with our new mechanical system. So in particular, where the existing music areas, those mechanical units are really loud and they're disruptive to education. We're actually redoing all those.
Oh,
so wherever we know of a problem that hasn't already been addressed by the district, we're addressing them. But once again, they're continually upgrading their HVAC for the school, so there's not a lot for us to do at the middle school. So.
And I assume all the glass is the kind of glass that's energy efficient and
it is.
Doesn't make places super hot or super cold like glass once did.
Yeah, it's all insulated glass, and then on the west, in the south elevations, we have low E high-performance glass. We only do that on areas where it's critical, like the east and the north, we don't because of the cost. But on the south and the west, we're doing, and that's another reason for those vertical louvers.
Yeah. Also, I'm glad that you're having a way for buses and cars to go out to places now. As it's been a long time since I've been a parent of a middle school child, but I do remember at times sitting in very long lines trying to get out on a very curvy road. And that's one of the better upgrades, along with the building, is putting that second entrance and exit out there. It's much safer, I assume.
And it sounds like we're going to, in reading through the traffic studies, it sounds like the city is going to have to really work with the school district once this project is completed and we really see what happens to the traffic patterns and flows, and in making some improvements on Scenic Heights Road as we learn more. Is that kind of what your thoughts are?
Yeah, we did go through that traffic study, and there were a number of different scenarios that were reviewed and looked at from improvements that we could make on the site. Obviously, we currently have some traffic concerns. Adding another grade level of parents and students isn't going to help anything unless we make some other improvements. We really believe that the corral at the top for parents to drop off their student or pick up students there, and then providing another exit out of the site are going to help that traffic flow situation. We don't know that that's going to solve it though, and I think you're absolutely right that the best scenario for us is to build the project and evaluate what happens with traffic flow, and then we can make some additional improvements after that. We're really trying to be budget conscious in this and make sure we don't over improve the site. We want to do the best we can with taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. And in terms of overall parking, amount of parking, what before and after, what are we talking numbers wise?
We've actually reduced the total number of parking stalls. When you add up the existing parking on the east side, which conflicts with the buses now, along with the west side parking, we're actually reducing it. If you remember in the plan, we actually took away some parking in the very southwest corner of the west parking lot to put in a rain garden to add for some of our stormwater management. So right now, if you've ever been up there, they're doing driving classes, and the parking lot is rarely full on that side. So district feels comfortable reducing those counts.
Good, thank you. Yep. All right, any, Mark?
I have a question, if I could, for Mr. Ellis. Are we in a position that, since this seems pretty open-ended as far as what improvements we may have to make, are you pretty comfortable that there's a good contingency plan in place for, we'll call it worst case at this point?
Your Honor, City Council member, yeah. So we've done the analysis. We've looked at a number of options of, kind of predicting what traffic will do. We've got a new connection being proposed with the project that wraps the north loop up to Wallace Road. So we have some contingencies that are being built into it. We want to see how do parents respond to this when they actually start using the facility. But we've outlined a couple of different alternatives should those not be enough, that we still have some type of congestion problem we need to resolve. And I think what I would plan to do is in our development agreement with the school district outline if additional improvements are needed, how would we fund those, who would construct them, so on and so forth. But I think that we'll come to an agreement on all of that language in the development agreement, should there be a need for future capital investments. And I think, like Mr. Mutzenberg talked, we don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital improvements that might not be needed now, but if opening day shows there is a problem, we'll be prepared to address it.
And I think signage will help with that too, because people, that are using the facility now have, certain patterns and mindsets of how they use it. And so now with this new reconstruction, I think it's going to be important to direct people the way we'd like to have them flow through the site, so that they don't try to go back to the way they used to use it and clog things up. So I'm sure you've thought of that, and I'm sure that'll be handled. So. All right.
Just one last follow-up on it. That it might be, I know that area real well also. It might be a good idea just to be proactive on that, that maybe the public understands that what they're seeing right now as it's working through the contingencies, of what traffic could be, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it's going to be. I mean, I don't know, I don't even know what the A to Z is of being proactive on that, but it's something that might not be a bad idea, because people have short memories sometimes if you just tell them, and I think it's, as far as a good organized campaign a little bit along with this project, it might be a good advice.
We already are working on some communication plans to roll out to parents.
Perfect.
I think a great comment we got from Planning Commission was around just trying to increase the number of students that ride our buses. If we can reduce some of the traffic flow and do a campaign just to try and get some of those parents to have their children ride the bus, that might be able to help control traffic as well.
That's a fantastic idea. All right, so this is a public hearing. I think we can always come back if council has more questions, but I'd like to open up the public hearing. Is there anyone tonight that's come to the council meeting to address this project? Doesn't look like we've got anyone. I think that's a good sign that you guys have done an excellent job in communicating this out to the public, and it's been well vetted for a long time, as you alluded to. So that's a great sign. So appreciate that. Council, anyone want to make a motion?
Move to close the public hearing and adopt a resolution for planned unit development concept review on 57.4 acres. Approve the first reading of the ordinance for a planned unit development district review with waivers and a zoning district change from industrial rural and RI-22 to public on 57.4 acres. Preliminary plat to combine the multiple parcels into one lot on 57.4 acres. And direct staff to prepare a development agreement incorporating staff and commission recommendations and council conditions.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we want to have any further discussion? Any other questions, any other issues to discuss? Seeing none, I would look for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing this develop. In terms of timing, what are you talking about? When would you start to break ground on this and kick this off?
Yeah, thank you. Groundbreaking will happen right away in the spring when frost is out of the ground. So hopefully sometime around April 1st we'll be able to get in. Start construction. We'll start on the east side of the building with the bus loop so we can have that updated and ready to go for fall of 20. And then we'll start with the other projects as well. But projects will wrap up by fall of 2021. So we've got a lengthy project. There's a lot of work here, both exterior and interior. And as you know, we have school going on, so safety will be our #1 concern as construction is happening during that time to keep our kids safe while we still keep on constructing the addition. So.
Well, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing it develop, and I'm sure the community is well behind this and will be anxious to see it unfold.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the code amendment change. Mr. Getchow.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. We are bringing forward a code amendment for side yard setbacks in the R1 9.5 district. Our Community Development Director, Ms. Jeremiah, has a brief overview of this code amendment.
Your Honor, council members, very brief, 3 slides. We consider this a housekeeping amendment. And if we could bring up the slide, you'll see that in our zoning code, excuse me, generally these standards are shown in a table and all of the blanks are kind of filled in. And in this particular instance with the R1 9.5, we have a couple of situations where it's telling you to see other language for these side yard setbacks. And that language is shown here below, and it's rather cumbersome. It's hard to interpret, and it has been subject to different interpretations, and it's pretty outdated with regard to the intent of some folks years ago building 1-car garages and then wanting to add on a 2nd-car garage. Now we're seeing 3- and 4-car garages, as you well know. So we propose to just clarify this language and put setbacks right in the table with a minimum of one side of 5 and a minimum total of 15, but allowing any combination as long as the minimum of 5 is met. And this would eliminate the need for waivers that we've seen lately with regard to Stable Path and Highland Oaks, where they wanted to evenly split. And again, there was some confusion with whether that required a waiver, so just to be safe, we ran them. By clarifying this, we won't create any nonconformities. We will just basically allow this type of situation in the future without waivers. I'll certainly take any questions you may have.
Council, any questions for staff?
I just have a quick question. How much land do we have that falls under this right now? I'm just out of curiosity.
Yeah, we actually have quite a bit. I couldn't tell you the acreage offhand,
Okay.
but there is actually quite a bit, and we are encouraging this district through our latest Aspire comprehensive planning to allow more cluster housing and, you know, some of the types of cluster with associations and low maintenance that we're seeing that people are requesting. So we see this coming in more, and we see the interest in splitting the setbacks evenly.
I can see your point on it, because I think as going forward, it's more and more important, being that one of the biggest obstacles we have is the cost of land. And I like this aspect. Makes a lot more sense.
And it'll probably happen through redevelopment as well. So, any other, council, any other questions for staff? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. Has anyone come before the council to address this topic on this change, code amendment change? Seeing none, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing and approve the ordinance to amend City Code, Chapter 11, Section 11.03, Subdivision 2A, 8, and Subdivision 2B within the R1-9.5 zoning district regarding the minimum side yard setback.
We have a
Second
motion.
that.
Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's approved. Thank you, Ms. Jeremiah. All right, moving on to payment of claims. Can I get a motion, please?
I move the approval of payment of claim as submitted.
All right, roll call vote, please. Well, we need a second, I guess, first. We have a second? We have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. All right, roll call vote.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayanan,
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson,
Aye.
Acting Mayor Aho.
Aye. All right, thank you. We have that approved. Is there anything else to come before the council tonight? Any other further business?
There's not.
All right, with that, I will close the meeting and we'll move to adjourn. Oh, we need a motion though,
Motion.
first.
I move to adjourn the city council meeting.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned.
You guys,